If I was starting manifestation from the very beginning, these are the 4 simple steps that I would ensure I learned and really honed in on to make sure that I was successful in manifestation. Because like you, I saw so much fluff. I saw so many techniques. I saw so many different beliefs and limiting beliefs and this works and oh, actually, no, this doesn't work. And it drove me absolutely nuts trying to learn it all. So after many years of trial and tribulation, I'm at a point where I can consistently manifest pretty much anything that I want to manifest. The only times I don't manifest the things that I want is when I no longer want them anymore. And the only things I currently don't have manifested are the things I'm still working on manifesting. But I know and I'm calm and I'm confident they're coming. So what I want to do today is just to give you the 4 simple steps to manifest anything or everything, because it really doesn't need to be that difficult. Manifestation is meant to be a natural process. We've been doing it our entire lives anyway, so why now is it any different? And that's what I want to do today. I want to just give you 4 simple steps to manifest anything. It's a presentation video, so it's probably going to be long and in depth, but the information I'm giving you is simple. I'm just going to go into it so that you can ensure that you know everything that you need to know. But step 1, what do you actually want to manifest? Now, I know that sounds ridiculously simple, and why would I even be asking you this? Well, you'd be surprised at how many times people come to me saying, I want to manifest my person. And I'm like, okay, what? Relationship? Friends with benefits? Just friends? An apology? What does I want to manifest my person look like? And then I go, oh, okay, actually I want a relationship. I'm like, cool, great. Long distance relationship, close distance relationship, healthy relationship, toxic relationship, polyamorous relationship, monogamous relationship. Relationship has so many different bases that it could be a relationship. So what do you want? And that's why I want to bring that as the first step today for you. Because the subconscious mind, your creative power, relies on the focus of your conscious mind to actually create. What you consciously focus on, what you consciously think, the things that you essentially place your awareness on, they are past your subconscious mind, to which your subconscious mind takes in as truth and then pushes out for you to experience. So, like it says in the next box, there's absolutely no point shooting your shot, firing an arrow, if there's no target to aim for. If you just say, I want a relationship, great, you'll get a relationship. But that doesn't necessarily mean it'll be the relationship you want. That doesn't necessarily mean that they'll provide you the things that you want to experience. A relationship is a relationship. So let's actually consider, what do you want out of this outcome? And of course, this can be for anything. I use relationship because that's the most common thing. But what do you want out of that job? What do you want out of your dream home? What is your dream car? How many miles has it got on it? Is it brand new? Is it secondhand? Was it cheap? What do you actually want? And to do this, as I like to recommend in a lot of my videos, get a list going. A list is so incredibly important. In fact, if I could show you without messing around with the camera so much, up there I have multiple lists on pieces of paper. I've got my YouTube goals, I've got my money and debt goals, I've got my music career goals, I've got my 1-year plan, my 3-year plan, my 5-year plan. I have breakdowns on how I'm going to improve my music plan. I have breakdowns on how I'm going to achieve my money plan and the YouTube plan and all of that. I am a sucker for lists, and that's why I'm successful, because everything is here, or everything that I need to know is being passed up here to ensure that I reach everything. So get a list going and write out the things that you really want to experience. What's important to you from your desire? A couple of examples: if you want a monogamous relationship, state that. Obviously, you can just say loving and committed or whatever, however you would like to word it. But if that's important to you, get it down. If you want to be posted on social media, get it down. Start with your needs first. I need this to happen in this relationship so that I can be happy. And then afterwards, if you would like to, you can move on to your wants. Now, some people tell me, I don't actually know what I want in a relationship. I don't really know what it feels like to have the kind of relationship that I desire. I don't really know what I'm trying to focus on. And that's absolutely fine. In those cases, you can try the inverse method. As it says there, if you cannot think of anything or want to ensure that you have everything on that list, try the inverse method. Apologies if you can hear the dogs next door barking. But what is the inverse method? Well, the inverse method is essentially writing out what you don't want to experience. So as we've got a little demonstration here, on the left we have the wants. I want loyalty. I want to be shown off on social media. I want regular dates. I want consistent messaging. And on the right, we have the don't wants. I absolutely don't want to be long distance. I don't want to experience disrespect. I don't want to be chasing for their love. I don't want to be given breadcrumbs. Now that we know what we absolutely don't want to experience, we can flip those around and say, okay, if I don't want long distance, then actually maybe I want to live together. There we go. Now we have another want that we could have. Or I don't want disrespect. Okay, well, that means I must want respect, right? There we go. Now we have another thing that's important. I don't want to be chasing love. Okay, what do I want instead? I want to feel like I'm chased and pursued. There we go. There's another want. And breadcrumbs. I don't want to receive breadcrumbs. What do I want instead? I would absolutely love full-fledged and intense or attentive love. There we go. That's another one. Get your list together. And obviously that's only the first step, is to just get the list together. But get a clear indication and understanding of what you want to experience. If it's a job, remote working, or only a couple of days a week, certain pay, certain hours, certain office dynamic. What do you want out of your desires? Start with the wants. If you feel like you've not quite covered it, start with the don't wants and then inverse them. If you can do this, your list is going to be chock full, but you're going to have everything that you need. And don't worry if that list gets too long, because as we can go on to later on in this video today, you can always sort of group things together and make it a little bit easier for you to cover all bases. Just like up there, I have on my 1-year plan for money, I have 12 different steps on how I intend to achieve that. Sounds like a lot, but when you realize that each one of those steps is quite small and insignificant, but it makes a big response, it doesn't feel like it's a big amount of work. So once you've got your list down, you can start grouping things together. Step 2, understand that version of you. There is a state of mind separation between who you are and who you want to be. Let's again use the relationship example, because that's what most people are manifesting. Right now, you're either, or more than likely, single, wanting a specific person, single, wanting your specific person back, or single, wanting a relationship with someone. Let's just use those bases. If you don't fit into any of those categories, that's fine. This is just an example, but the principles will still, align to you. If you are single, you will have a certain state of mind. You'll have a certain set of thoughts, feelings, and actions that align with being single. For example, thinking of yourself as single. For example, acting as though you're single. For example, feeling as though you're single. Now, the way someone will think, feel, and act when they're single would be different to other people and so on and so forth. So I can't give you this is exactly how you're thinking, how you're feeling, and how you're acting baseline. But some examples could be, I'm single. People ask you how, if you're in a relationship, and you'll say no, or you'll get disheartened when you see other couples, or you'll think about how your person doesn't want you, or the last thing that they said, or the last time that you messaged. Those are the kind of things that are keeping you in this place of being single. Because remember, where your focus goes, what takes your awareness, that's what's fed to your subconscious mind, to which it then gets to work pushing out for you to experience. So if you are thinking from the perspective of being single, lo and behold, you're feeding that story to your subconscious mind, therefore creating more of that outcome. Same thing with the feelings and the actions. However, feelings are derived from the way that you're thinking, the way that you're perceiving things, and actions are the steps you take based on the thoughts that you have. So it all starts with your thoughts, and it kind of trickles down from there. When you're in a relationship, you'll have a completely different set of thoughts, feelings, and actions. You may think about yourself as, I'm so lucky to have this person. I can't wait to go home and see this person. This person's constantly texting me, and it feels amazing to know that they're there for me. Just again, some examples. You might feel excited because they're there, whereas when you're single, you might feel down and bored. With the actions, if you're in a relationship, you'll check your phone. If there's a text, great. If there's not, they're probably just busy. They'll message me later because you've got the security of a relationship. Whereas if you're single trying to manifest them, you'll probably check your phone and be like, still no text. This means that they don't want me. The difference between being single and being in a relationship is your state of mind. At the moment, you will have a certain set of thoughts, feelings, and actions that are keeping you in this position. Again, this can go for job, career, anything like that. But you're having a certain set of thoughts, feelings, and actions that are keeping you aligned with this undesired story. You want to understand what your new thoughts, feelings, and actions would be if you had your desired story, if you were in that relationship or had that job or had whatever it is that you desire to have. As it says there, if you wish to successfully manifest a desire, you need to take on the thoughts, feelings, and actions of that of your desired self. So, a simple question, ask yourself, if I did have my desire, how would I act on an average day to day? Simple question. And again, if you wish to, you can get the list together or you can kind of just sort of sit and think about it. But if I was in a loving relationship, how would I wake up? Well, I wake up content. My partner's next to me or my partner's at her house, and I wake up content. I might sort of think about them a little bit, look forward to when I see them, but I'd go forward content. There you go. That's how you would think, feel, and act about it as you start your day. When you think about your person in a relationship, you wouldn't be thinking like, oh, why have they not got back to me? Because you're in a relationship. So you've got that security knowing that they're going to get back to you. So instead you think, if they haven't messaged you, probably just busy, they'll message me later. Things like that. You think things in alignment with your desired end. So get a clear understanding of what that version of you would think, feel, and act. And you can literally just ask yourself that question to get you started. If I had my desired reality or my desire, how would I think, feel, and act on a day-to-day basis? Now, I did add here at the end, the thoughts section can be replaced with techniques, because I understand that as people that are in the manifestation community, most of what you know or make use of will be that of techniques as opposed to just thoughts. But the thing with techniques is they are modes of transport to shift your thoughts. The techniques that you use are different ways of structuring your thoughts. An affirmation is a spoken thought. A script is a written thought. A visualization is a visual thought. So when I say thoughts, feelings, and actions, I could mean visualizations, feelings, and actions, or affirmations, feelings, and actions, or scripts, feelings, and actions. So don't get confused if you're like, well, I don't know how I think. Okay, what would you affirm? What would you visualize? What would you script? And of course, there's those other further sort of subcategories of it, like the 369 method, the 555 method, the I remember when method, the whispered technique. All of those are just different variations of how to do the affirmations, the scripting, or the visualizations. So if you hear those sort of under the skin kind of different techniques, they still count as your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. So take that on board. What would that version of you be thinking, feeling, and acting on a day-to-day basis? Now, one thing that I do often get is people are like, okay, I know what to affirm, I know what to visualize, I know what to script, but, what happens when something shows itself in the 3D that doesn't align with what I'm affirming and all that lot? Essentially, I'm receiving the opposite. So here are a few makeshift scenarios that you may experience based on different kinds of situations, just to give you a rough idea of how you would go about things on your day-to-day basis. Because of course you've got an understanding of how you would think, feel, and act, and you should take that on a day-to-day basis. But what happens when something quite literally shows itself to show you the opposite of what you're manifesting? And here's a couple of examples of how you can handle it. First off, let's say that you're trying to manifest a relationship and you're checking your phone and haven't seen the text. The version of you who is single trying to manifest a relationship will probably look at that and go, oh, still no text. See, they don't want me. They don't love me. I'm never going to get them back. Any number of self-defeating stories, so to speak. So instead, what would you think if you were in a relationship and you didn't have that text? You check your phone, you go, oh, that's odd, they haven't messaged me yet, but that's fine, I'm sure they'll message me later. Or, if you want to take it even further, pretend that text is there. Oh, wow, they'll text me, I'll check it in a second, and just put your phone down. Your subconscious mind has no idea what is and isn't real. It only knows what your conscious mind is telling it. It doesn't have access to the senses that accumulate the 3D reality and provide yourself information. It only knows what your conscious mind is telling it. So even if you don't have that text, oh, she's messaged me, that's great. You know what, I'm busy right now, I'll check it in a minute. Your subconscious mind doesn't know that there's no text there for you to even respond to. So don't worry about it. So you can either go the route of, if I was in a relationship and there was no text, I'd be chill about it and I'll just say, you know what, they'll text me later, I'm sure they're just busy right now. Or you can kick it up a step further and go, well, if I was in a relationship, I'm sure they would be messaging me. Therefore, at about this time, there'd be a message. So I'm going to tell myself, oh, look, yeah, they've messaged me. This is great. I'll respond to them in a minute and leave it at that. Your subconscious mind doesn't know any better, so why not do the best that you can to help your subconscious mind take in the right story? Next example, searching for jobs. Well, a lot of people will say to me like, oh, but if I had a job, I wouldn't be searching for jobs. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But again, your subconscious mind doesn't need to know any of that. So one of the ways that you could tell yourself you're doing it is, I already have my dream job. I'm just applying for fun just to see if I'd get offered interviews. That states that you have your dream job already, which is obviously affirming that further, because if you had your dream job, that's how you'd see it. But it also allows you to do the job applications for those of you who feel a bit unnerved to just sit back and affirm for the job and wait for the inspired action. That way, you're applying for the jobs and kind of moving things along in that basis, but you're coming from the mindset of already having your job. I have my dream job, I'm just affirming for fun. Next one, going to your current house while manifesting a new one. And this is actually something that I did to move out of my previous house. Every time you go up to your house, your subconscious mind doesn't know that you're going to the house that you live in unless you tell it as so. So instead, tell yourself, I remember when I used to live here, but now I have my new and most amazing home. I'm just coming to visit. Something like that. And that's what I would do. Every time I went to my old house, I would literally open the door and say, oh, I remember when I used to live here, but now I'm glad I don't anymore. And I think it was about 2 months or so after that, I ended up moving out of that house and not into my current one, but into my previous one. And it worked a treat. So that's a way to go about the house thing. And finally, your friends ask how you and your person are doing. Just simply say things are good, or, you're working on things, or things are moving as they should, or something positive like that. Or, of course, just say, you know what, it is what it is, and leave it at that if you really don't want to lie to your friends. But again, your subconscious mind doesn't know any better, so there's no harm in just saying, you know what, things are moving as they should. Things are good. Everything's great. I'm quite happy with where things are at right now. Even if you're not technically happy with where things are at right now, if you're claiming that your subconscious mind gives you things to prove that you are happy with where things are at right now, therefore further impressing it. So this is just like a couple of makeshift scenarios, but hopefully you've kind of got an idea of what I mean. The version of you will think one thing, the version of you that you are currently will think one thing, the version of you who has your desire will think another. Get an understanding of what those things are. Get an understanding of how you'd affirm, how you'd visualize, how you'd act, how you'd feel, how you'd script if you want to do those techniques, and get a clear understanding of the mindset shift between who you are and who you need to become. Step 3. Now it's time to start stepping into that version. Now, we've done all the theory and setting up, time to put it into action. We now understand what you want into an in-depth sense. We now understand what it would mean to be that version of you, how you would think, feel, and act on an average day, the kind of affirmations or visualizations or scripts that you would make use of. Of course, entirely up to you what you do, but now it's time to get it to work. Like I said earlier, your conscious mind feeds the story onto your subconscious mind, to which it gets to work pushing it out. What I didn't say earlier, but I've said in every other video, is that it's your dominant state is what manifests. Our aim is to make this new story dominant in your mind. So many people will say things like, I've been affirming for 20 minutes a day and I still don't have my desire. And I go, well, how long have you been thinking like crap for the day then, on average? And they'll be like, oh, I spiral every hour. And I'm like, okay, so it's not dominant then, is it? You've not got this story as the forefront of your mind, the main thing that your subconscious mind has to go off of. Therefore, of course, that's why you're not getting the results that you desire. So what we want to do is take all the information that we've just made use of and actually put it into work. Now, there are 2 ways that I like to go about this. The first way being positively reactive with the work that you're doing. This is pretty much what I just said, where you've got something in the 3D, whether it's something that's happened or negative thoughts, sort of thoughts that take you to the old story. Being positively proactive is to understand what has come up, but choosing to go down a different path instead. So when you have those thoughts come up about oh, the person will never want me, catching that and literally going, what am I even talking about? We're currently in a loving relationship. They already want me. They're showing up for me every single day. Just an example, obviously what you put on your paper will be what you use in these kind of instances. But you're reacting to the 3D or the thoughts, but in a positive way that benefits your story. You're understanding what's come up and chosen to reaffirm, to rethink down the path of what it is that you desire to experience. So you're positively reacting to it and feeding your subconscious mind the correct story. Because what comes up doesn't matter, it's where we take it. If we go down those negative thoughts and say, oh yeah, you know what, it's right, he doesn't love me, they're never going to love me, so on and so forth, you're impressing your subconscious mind further with that. But if it comes up and you say, no, what is that? What am I even on about? What? Shut up. This is the new story. We are in a loving relationship. Everything is amazing. You're disassociating from the negative, therefore stopping yourself from recreating it, and you're reassociating with the positive, therefore helping yourself begin to create it. So it's like a win-win. But the other way is to be positively proactive with the work that you're doing. This is those things that you'll see in, for example, Sammy Ingram's videos or like Neville Goddard's stuff, where it's like, 10 minutes of affirmations in the morning and 10 minutes at night, or go to bed visualizing your scene and try and hold that feeling. This is where you essentially take what you wish to be true and you put yourself in that desired state without any prior catalyst for those things coming to mind. i.e., you're not currently unconsciously thinking negative thoughts that you're trying to direct down a new path. You're just simply, this is the time that I'm going to do my affirmations. This is the time that I'm going to be doing my scripts and such things. By doing these two things together, by being positively proactive, you are essentially building up that dominancy within the stories by getting the work done even without any kind of prior catalyst. And being positively reactive, you're stopping those negative thoughts from building up and you're helping the positive thoughts build up. Therefore, tackling the dominancy situation from both angles. If you can be consistent with doing this on a day-to-day basis and try and catch as many thoughts as possible and put the work in, you are going to impress your subconscious mind and you are going to receive your desire. But I did make a sort of rough daily routine for people to follow because I know people love structures. I know people love routines. So I made like just a little general but simple one for you to follow. Not too strenuous, but kind of good enough. All of these things that I've written here are the positively proactive stuff. So with the positively reactive stuff, you're going to want to do those anyway, even amongst these kinds of things. But when you wake up, I recommend you affirm for your main desire. So if it's a relationship, I'm in the most loving, passionate, and committed relationship with person. I feel safe and secure in my relationship with person. I'm more than good enough to be in a relationship with person. Affirm for your main desire. When you first wake up, that essentially helps you set the tone for the rest of the day. Or sorry, if you do something when you first wake up, that helps you set the tone for the rest of the day. Therefore, probably helping you stay in that state or find it easier to redirect back to that state on an average day to day. Or like throughout the average day to day, sorry. So I recommend you start off by affirming for about 5 to 10 minutes for your desire. Of course, you can move around. You don't have to lay there silent and do it, but just try and get it done. As you're getting ready for the day, I recommend you affirm for how your day is going to go. So many times people will forget just their general life when trying to do manifestation work. So I recommend affirming for how you desire your day to go so you can have a good day. Because when people have good days, it affects their mood. If your mood is in a better state, it's going to be so much easier for you to reside within the end space of having your desire than if you have a crap day. If you went to work and your car broke down and your manager started shouting at you and then you got caught in the rain on the way home, then you realize you forgot to get the chicken out, you're probably going to sit there and think, you know what, screw this, everything's against me, my specific person doesn't love me either, and blah, 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 blah. Whereas if you have an amazing day, no traffic, manager gives you a compliment, super sunny on the way home, so you enjoyed your favorite music with the windows down, you got the chicken out, and it was your favorite meal of the week, it's going to be so much easier for you to have a good mood to take into the work that you're doing. So I recommend starting your day with some affirmations for your desire, and then going into some affirmations or whatever it is that you like to do for how your day is going to go. Lunchtime, do a few minutes of self-concept focus. Now, the next point does talk about self-concept, so if you're not sure about that, don't worry, it's coming. But self-concept is obviously extremely important for reasons I'm about to get into, so I'll just breeze on from that. Sometime in the evening, do some more self-concept work. So important, do it. And as you're falling asleep or just before you go to sleep, do 5 to 10 minutes or until you fall asleep of the techniques of your choice. Now, I put affirmations just because that's what I like to do, but if you're a visualizer, visualize. If you're a scripter, script. It's entirely up to you. But this is just like a rough routine that isn't too strenuous at all, but will help you stay positively proactive. And then if you catch those little sparse thoughts that come up about your desire, you're being positively reacting, there's no way you won't make it dominant. And step 4, the final step, but probably one of the most important ones, self-concept. Now, we all hear this term everywhere, but I'm going to try and bring it to you in a way that's going to really help it sort of hit home. But your self-concept is the creative power that goes on when you're not consciously focusing on an outcome. So with the manifestation work, you're focusing on something, therefore you're creating it. Self-concept is the concept of yourself. It's what you assume to be true about you, essentially. And your self-concept is what plays out when you aren't being conscious with your life. It's those things where people say, like, oh, of course it just happened to me, or I never get lucky on those things, or, people do this to me all the time. Those kinds of things are self-concept issues, and they're going on unconsciously and recreating. Self-concept absolutely is not necessary to manifest your desire. If you just focus on the desire itself being the way that you want it to be, yourself in that situation, you will manifest your desire. But I can assure you it helps to an extraordinary degree to have a solid self-concept. The reason why, think of your self-concept like the foundation that you would build a house on. If you've got a poor foundation, that house runs the risk of collapsing. You're probably going to have to do multiple repairs. It's just going to be an absolute mess. Kind of like your manifestation work. If you don't feel good enough within yourself, if you feel worthless, if you feel like people just don't respect you and don't like you, you're going to find it so much harder to dwell in the end result of your person loving, respecting, and choosing you. Whereas if you have a solid foundation, that house is going to be so much sturdier. Same thing for manifestation. If you solidly believe that you're good enough, you're worthy, you're deserving, you're attractive, you're the best thing since sliced bread, sitting there thinking, oh, actually, yeah, of course my person's going to be head over heels in love with me, is so much easier. So think of that whenever you think of self-concept work. It's something that you do in conjunction because it's setting up the foundation so you can build a sturdier house on top. But what are your self-concept issues then? Well, self-concept being what you assume to be true for yourself is best understood by asking yourself a simple question. Why not me? Or what do I think is stopping me from receiving my desire? What are the reasons that I couldn't have this? Why not me? Why does, Jake from accounting have the most amazing car, but I don't? What's stopping me? What's going on up here that stops me from getting what I want? And here are obviously a couple of demonstrations. Well, I don't feel good enough. If it's a relationship, every time I start to fall in love, they leave. I always put the effort in and they never reciprocate, or I'm too ugly, boring, broke, and so on. Those are my self-concept things. They're the way that I see myself and I see my experiences, which is why this plays out for me. So now what we want to do is turn it into the inverse. In fact, I'm actually more than good enough as I am. The more I love, the more they love me. I'm deserving of effort being made, and I'm attracting, interesting, rich, and so on. These are the self-concept beliefs that you're going to want to instill within yourself to aid your self-concept so that things will become natural. And then going back to the routine, lunchtime, you do a few of those affirmations, or you visualize the scene that implies it, or so on. Same thing at some point in the evening. Same thing with the positively reactive standpoint. If something negative comes to mind that is about your worth, actually, you know what? I'm more than good enough as I am to have insert fix of whatever situation is in front of you. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is the 4 simple steps to manifesting anything. You get clear on what you want to an intense depth. You understand what it would mean to have that. How would you think? How would you feel? How would you act? You then begin to tell yourself that you are in that experience right now. You begin to be proactive with it by telling yourself that you're already in that experience, and you be reactive with it in a positive sense by reminding yourself that the thoughts or the 3D that is showing up isn't true because you're already in that experience. While doing that, absolutely enjoy life to the absolute fullest. Relax, stay calm, stay confident, stay putting in the work, of course, but don't be insistent. Don't be checking the 3D. Don't be panicking about anything. Don't stress about anything. Follow this procedure, follow this process, and anything outside of what I've told you to do now, relax. If it's in between the times where I've said to do stuff on the routine and you're not thinking of your desire, enjoy that time. That's actually a time for you to unwind and to let your mind have a little bit of a break. When your desire comes to mind, be positively reactive with it, and then move on and enjoy yourself. Enjoy the present moment to the absolute best. Do the work when you set yourself times to do so. Do the work when your desire comes to mind, and do the work when your self-concept issues or things about your self-concept come to mind. Anything outside of that, absolutely live life to the fullest. Do everything that makes you happy. Build a fulfilling and abundant life. If you can do this, it will be the complete recipe required to get yourself to the point, like me, like many of the other coaches that you watch, that can sit here with conviction and say, your thoughts actually can bring a person. That statement is outrageous to anybody that doesn't know about manifestation. But when you've been doing it for long enough, you get to a point where you can say it with sheer conviction because you have all the evidence to suggest it. These 4 simple steps today that I've just given you, they are my final. I've gone through everything trying to make it work. This is what I've landed on will work for you. Steps to manifest your desires. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. It's obviously quite a long one. I've noticed it's probably about half an hour, so it's very in-depth. My throat is a little bit sore. So because of all the effort that I've put into making this video, it would mean so much to me if you could drop me a like and a comment. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, because I put so many life-changing videos up 3 times a week. If you are in need of one-to-one help to solidify your process and ensure that you are doing the right thing, I do have coaching solutions available for you down below in the comment section and the description. You'll find the links to my website where you can find my coaching offers. I also have a membership available which offers tons of amazing things to help you with your desire. And lately I've been doing this thing where I can actually script for you, and so many people have been having so much amazing feedback and success from it. So if you want results without doing any of the work, all you have to do is just send over a couple of pounds and someone else does it for you. Head down below into the description and there you'll find a thing that says I manifest for you. Sign up for that and let's get you your success. Thank you so much for watching today, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.